All right, welcome to the Buck Fever podcast. I am your guest host today, Pat Kolbe, joined by
Jake
and Noah, two familiar faces. I'm going to lead today's episode, but before that, we have some exciting news. We had a big-time weekend in Buck Fever Outdoors with the crew out on Lake Winnebago. You guys want to elaborate on that a little bit?
Yeah, it was actually pretty unbelievable. The first detail we should mention is that we got a little group chat going, obviously, just to kind of communicate about hunting stuff. And so we get a text from Kolbe at like 9:30, 9:45, something along the lines of like, "Hey boys, good luck out there. Anybody seen anything yet?" That sort of thing. Like,
we're not deer hunting though.
No.
We're sturgeon spearing.
We're sturgeon spearing. We're sturgeon spearing.
Yeah.
And so we get the little text, whatever. We're only 2.5 hours into the season, and I see that right away, and I respond. I'm like, well, actually, Jake and I both got one already. So Jake's came first. You should probably tell yours, but
yeah, I was pretty fortunate again. Sturgeons are they're a lot more rare, so to speak, than deer are. And I speared my second one this year at about 8:10, and I think I saw him before that, but I'm glad I didn't throw because I wasn't sure if it was a sturgeon or legal or anything like that. And then I waited, and apparently it was only 10 minutes later that I speared a 74-pound, 68-inch F1. So I was pretty stoked about that. And Dad and I just built a brand new shack, and he was with me and gaffed and everything, and my neighbor, who's never been out, his first time ever out sturgeon spearing, was there to experience the whole thing. So it was a pretty cool experience. And my first phone call was to Noah after the fish was been out of the hole for about 20 seconds. So we never really FaceTime each other unless we kill something. So if you see a FaceTime from one of us, we usually know something good happened.
Yeah, when I got the FaceTime coming through, I'm like, no way. There's just no way that happened, because like you said, we've been fortunate the past couple of years, and we've had a lot of good luck. And it's like at some point you would think, that you're just going to have those years where you don't see anything, and that's going to happen. And then I see that FaceTime, and it's like you said, 8:10. We've only been at it for just over an hour and already getting that FaceTime. It's like, no way. And then pick up and you see the fish flopping around there on the ice. It's like, oh my gosh, it's just crazy. And then it must have been not even an hour and a half later when I got to spear mine, and it was it was kind of crazy now watching the footage back, because I was sitting down, and then I got a little bit tired of sitting, so then I stood up, and then I got a little bit tired of standing and just looking down the hole, so then I decide I'm going to straddle the hole. So now I've got one leg on one side, one leg on the other, and my spear is behind me, and I'm just sitting there. And meanwhile, now that I'm watching the footage back, there's either mud rolling over the X's or a fish rolling over the X's, possibly two fish. I mean, I don't even know what's going on. It's hard to tell because it's a little bit difficult. I mean, they're pretty deep down there. It's difficult to tell what's mud, what's a fish, and then just like the directions it's coming in, it's kind of hard to think that the mud would have been where it was. I almost think there was two fish, but there was either mud or a fish in the hole before I even stepped over to straddle it, because I was only straddling the hole for like 20 seconds, not even, when I realized that there was a fish.
So did you spear it that way?
No, I saw that there was a fish. Saw there was a fish. Quick step back over, and I said, "Hey, there's a fish." Gabby was on her phone, which she was only on her phone for like 2 minutes. She was watching the hole before that, and I was on my phone, and then we just switched. I got tired of sitting and looking down the hole in like 30 seconds, and then I stood up and got tired of doing that in like 2 minutes, and then straddled the hole. So she had only been on break for like a couple minutes. Ben was sleeping, which is, that's
tends
classic.
to do that.
That's Ben. Anytime we're hunting, fishing, spearing, whatever, first it's snack time, second it's nap time, and if he's got a little bit of hunting or fishing or spearing in between there, he's good to go. So he's sleeping.
One of his 5 different varieties of monsters didn't have him awake?
No, he I don't think he had a single energy drink while we were in there, which was probably for the best. If you Or all of a sudden drinking energy drinks in there, you get a burst of energy while there's literally nothing you can do. Yeah, it's gonna be a major problem. So I don't think he had a single one actually, but no, he was sleeping. I finally see the fish. I step back over the hole and wake him up. Gabby gets up. I line it up, spear it. They did a great job getting everything out of the hole. And, then it's just everybody's celebrating. Everybody, pretty soon, next thing you know, everybody's flying over on four-wheelers and UTVs and snowmobiles coming to check it out, say congratulations, whatever. And then everybody, based on the first year that I was out with you guys and we speared 3 in one day, everybody's like, all right, get the spears back in. We're going to try and get another one. And so it was pretty crazy. Mine was a little smaller than yours. Well, I mean, by a fair amount, but still just a good medium-sized fish. But I mean, we totally agree on it. Like, if it's legal, it's like you're spearing it.
I mean, if you can tell that it's fairly legal, it's probably gonna get speared,
like
at least
we're
by
not,
us.
At this point in our careers, we are absolutely not passing on anything that's legal. We're gonna spear it. So yeah, it was an awesome experience, and it's worth noting that at the time that this podcast comes out, your video is already out. So if you haven't seen that, you definitely want to go check that one out. And mine, we're not sure yet when we're going to post it. It's either just been posted or it's going to be posted really, really soon when this comes out. And then we actually had Mike McDowell, who was on the podcast last week. He speared one on Sunday.
Unbelievable.
And then we also got that one on camera. So we're going to have that one coming out shortly after mine. So we have a ton of content for you guys. I'm super shocked that we were able to get that much this year, especially since we were having so many issues with our GoPros recently. And I don't think it was more the GoPros, it was more the SD cards, but we were just having issues trying to get we were just losing footage. And so we were thinking, man, even if we spear one and even if it's recording, is this footage just going to get lost? Like, are we just not even going to have it? And then to have 3 all get speared, all on camera, and we have all the footage, is just like, it was meant to be. It was unbelievable. So definitely keep your eye out for that stuff.
Yeah.
Those are going to be some really awesome videos, but
two totally different reactions.
Yeah.
You're Mr. Calm over here, and I'm over here blowing a gasket, freaking out, yelling, screaming, swearing, and you're just, hey, can I have the gaff? And
it's a different
couple beeps in that video.
Yeah.
it's a little different style, which was also shocking because then Mike is usually more along those lines, and he fully admits to that and whatever, but this was his first one in 9 years, and he was like totally cool, calm, and collected. He just took his time getting it up. They got everything out. It was awesome. And he was with his son Jeb, who I was with last year when I speared my first fish. So that was just really cool for both of them to be there, and then to get it all on camera and be able to relive that day forever is really, really cool. But I think that's as much as we're going to talk about for now.
I do have a couple questions
Okay.
or comments on that. The first thing was like the text to you guys at whatever 9:30. My first response was bullshit. Like, no way they both have one already. It's like less than 2 hours into the season. And my second thought immediately went to, did they both spear them out of the same shack again? Like, that would have been ridiculous. But you guys obviously were in different shacks. My third thought is, did you, like, thinking back now, is that a nerve-wracking move to be straddling the hole and then to step back over while that fish is underneath you? Like, just thinking back on that, like, that fish could have seen that movement and taken off.
I think if you were in shallow water, it would have been a different story.
Well, can you give away how deep a water you were in or not? Or is that top secret information?
To be honest with you, I don't know for sure.
Could you see the bottom?
Yes, but it was really clear this year. So what I heard it was either like 15 to 17 maybe.
That's really good visibility.
That's really good visibility. That's really deep. And then even where we were, like, we have multiple different shacks within the group, and some of them were way more clear than others. Like, there was a distinct difference, even though they were only, I mean, each of them was probably no more than 200-300 yards apart. So just in that area, it was some variability, but everybody could see fairly decent, and we could see pretty good. I don't know how much they can look up.
More so, like, I think they could sense the movement, or
they might be able to. Yeah, I don't know. It was never really anything that crossed my mind that much. It's just, I don't know. Like with deer, you hear all about that. People talk about it, you know, because it is a real thing. Like you have to be so still. You can't move. You can't blink. You just have to watch every movement. And I've just never heard anybody talk about that. Like nobody's ever said, oh, I had a fish in the hole and then I moved and then it bolted. Like I've just never heard any stories like that. So it just never crossed my mind. I mean, you see in the video when it comes out, I just saw it come through. Step back over the hole real quick, grab the spear, and it was off.
Did either of them come to the decoy?
Yours did not.
Mine was cruising on the outside of the hole.
Yeah, and mine, I mean, it's hard to tell because I don't know. Was there one fish? Was there two fish? Was it mud? Was it whatever? But when I speared it, it might have circled around and had some weird pattern, and then some of it might have been mud. That's probably the most likely scenario. But when I speared it, it was 100% coming into the decoy. Yep.
And it was still. Like it was just kind of like it was sitting there almost right before you speared it.
Yeah, it wasn't moving very fast. And when I speared it, it was just kind of laying there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Nice. Read the script, came in, sat there, gave some good video footage.
Absolutely.
Nice. Well, hey, with that, let's get this episode rolling. This is going to be, we're tabbing it like the favorites podcast. So I have a bunch of topics per se, and going to ask these guys, and I'll chime in a little bit myself on like what our favorite thing is based on the topic, and probably maybe a tough one after you guys just speared fish this weekend. But your favorite outdoor season, would it be turkey hunting, deer hunting, open water fishing, ice fishing, sturgeon spearing, small game hunting? What takes the cake for you guys?
I'm probably going to have to go deer hunting just because it's a much longer season and a lot more opportunity. I mean, don't get me wrong, sturgeon spearing is a close second. I might be a little bit leaning towards that side just because I speared one, and I've speared two in the last 3 years, and that's like one hell of a rush. But deer hunting definitely takes it for me. I've been doing that as long as I can remember, and a lot of great memories out in the woods. So yeah, deer hunting for me.
Yeah, I mean, to me, it's not even a question. It's deer hunting. Like, yeah, it's just not. I mean, sturgeon spearing, don't get me wrong, it's awesome, and when you spear one, it's unbelievable. Like it's like nothing else. But you could talk about being in the shack and not seeing one, not spearing one, the boredom that takes place there and whatever. It is nice because you get to like still have conversations and listen to music and be on your phone. Like you can do all of those things that you can't necessarily do when you're sitting there watching for deer, because like we said, you have to be so conscious of all your movements and scent. I mean, you can have snacks. People are drinking beer. Like you can just do whatever you want in there.
Hey, you can do that deer hunting.
Well, I
came across a guy once on public land. I was trying to go to hunt an area. This is sidetracking the story already. But I came up on this guy, and he was hunting in the area. I didn't see him until I was unfortunately pretty close to him. But he had a cup holder screwed into the tree, which had a natty light. And meanwhile, he was smoking a cigarette. And without even a whisper, he just waves at me and, "Hey, buddy, how's it going? What are you seeing anything?" I don't sorry to like interrupt on your spot. Are you seeing anything? No, I've been a slow day. And I go, well, no shit.
A slow day.
Wonder why, but
and he probably had so much fun out there that day.
Yeah, I guarantee he had a blast. He was away from the wife for the day. He was just in, he was on cloud nine up there with his
drinking beer, smoking darts.
Uh-huh. Yeah. Oh man, no, but I mean there is that element of it where there's like more going on. So you could say, I guess, that maybe it's not as boring because you can do all that stuff. But at the same time, when it comes to deer hunting, it's like that's such a year-round thing for us, because then I rope in shed hunting, which we love to do, and to me, I think that's part of it. And planting food plots and all the things that you can do with preparing the land and water holes, having trail cameras, patterning deer, naming deer, watching deer. I mean, that's the thing for me that really tips the scales in the favor of deer hunting, is that with these deer, right, we all have target bucks, and then you watch them for months and months and months. You watch them grow. You try to pattern them. You give them names. When they show up on your trail camera and you got a cell camera and the notification comes through, it's like, it's such a big deal. And with sturgeon spearing, the fish that you spear is a fish that you've never seen before. Like, you don't have any relationship with the fish, and I think that's where it's a little bit different. like with deer in deer hunting, this could be a deer that you've seen while you're in the woods, that you've had encounters with before, and then maybe you have one encounter and then you shoot it later, or maybe it's multiple encounters over a number of years. I just think the relationship that you can build with certain deer and the amount of time, just the year-round aspect of it, I mean, it's an obsession for us. It's just, I think it's just different. It's different, man. I think it's deer hunting all the way.
I agree. I want to go back a little bit on that, but for some reason, when I spear sturgeon, I don't feel like that when I shoot a deer. Like, I'm still like, when I shot my biggest buck, I was still like super excited and adrenaline, but like, I think it was just a little different because for spearing, it happens so quick. You see him, you spear him, and you pull him out. Like, there's no like waiting in between, waiting to go look for him, or I mean, even if you see him fall over, but it's just like, it all happens within 30 seconds, and then you got your fish, and it's just a rush like no other. And I love the deer hunting, that it's a whole year-round thing, but I really like the camaraderie of the sturgeon spearing, like all the events and going to Wentz and the 1,000 people there. Everybody's congratulating you. I mean, there's not an unhappy person there. I mean,
right.
Everybody's super stoked for everybody. It doesn't matter who you are, how big it is. Everyone's congratulatory. So that's what I like about that.
Kind of a hero for the day, right? If you get
one,
right, pretty
got
much.
One hanging on the pole.
Yeah,
there.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
And I mean, yeah, it's worth noting too that like any of these other topics, right? Turkey hunting, fishing, small game, like we still love all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
It's still all great too. But yeah, I think deer hunting and just the, like you said, there's the camaraderie with sturgeon spearing, but I think with deer hunting you have a lot of that too, but
on a smaller scale.
It's a smaller scale. I just really enjoy like the cat and mouse of it all.
Mm-hmm.
You're playing chess, you're going back and forth. It just the relationship that you end up having with a deer that you might see for years and years before you end up getting it, or maybe you never get it. Like, just I think that cat and mouse aspect of it. And like you said, when you get a sturgeon, it's usually something that's going to happen pretty quick. With deer hunting, you could spot a deer. Like, think about the one that Eli shot with a gun this year that he watched for so long, and then he watched it bed down, and then it had to get up. Like, I like that element of it where you have so much extra time and your heart's pounding and you're just like waiting there with, I don't know. To me, I appreciate the cat and mouse. I appreciate the extra time that you spend, with the animal, the extra time you spend waiting to get your hands on it. I don't know. I think that adds to it for me, but like you said, the rush of sturgeon spearing and having it all happen so fast, and like the instant reward, like boom, there's the fish, and the element of even once you spear it, now you got to get it out of the hole and then out of the shack. And it's all pretty cool, but yeah. I mean, I think it's deer hunting for me, and I think it is for Jake. But I wouldn't trade any of them. I'm glad we get to do all of them.
Mm-hmm.
It's awesome.
Absolutely. I'm not going to elaborate on all these what it is for me, but for me it definitely is deer. Probably fishing second, and turkey hunting third. I don't small game hunt or sturgeon spear, so. I've gone along with friends sturgeon spearing and seen fish get speared. Maybe it'd be different if the spear was in my hand, but definitely probably that order for me: deer hunting, fishing, turkey hunting. So
I think we got to get you out there.
Yeah,
probably next year.
Well, I'm close to drawing Upper River tag.
Oh.
That's when I will go. So I'm probably about 2 years away from that. I think I'll have 7 points next year, and maybe it'll take 8 or 9. So maybe 2-3 years away.
My dad's got 7 too. So.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
All right, that's promising. I like to hear that.
I know a guy that lives over that way.
Yeah.
Stay by.
Sweet.
So how about this one? Moving on. Favorite. How about your favorite hunting partner?
Well, obviously, I'd say you're my favorite, and then obviously my dad would
That's cute.
be tied for second. I mean, you and my dad for sure,
right?
Because you and I have shared and started what we're doing now, and have so many core memories. And even before we were filming hunting with my dad, I mean, he was there when I shot my first deer. It was a buck, and come full circle, like 9 years later, I filmed him shooting his first buck in how long? So you and him for sure.
Yeah, I think especially when it comes to deer hunting, like even last year, I don't think you and I sat together a single time. So when it comes to like deer hunting together, it's just more few and far between. I think you kind of appreciate it a little bit more. We pretty much, I don't want to say we only turkey hunt together, but the majority of the time when we're turkey hunting, we're together. And obviously, yeah, it's a blast. And But like you said, when it's family members like that, when it comes to deer hunting, pretty much every time I'm out with my brother, out with my dad, sometimes out with my grandpa. So just to be with all those people like at the same time, I think that's really cool. At least once or twice a year, I always try and sit with Gabby. And so far we haven't shot anything together or anything, but it's just fun to be able to enjoy something like that with your significant other. To just kind of, not all the time. She doesn't have to be in the stand with me every time necessarily, but just to do it, a couple times a year is always really nice. And then, like the first time I ever shot something with somebody else there was that turkey that we shot.
Yeah.
That we doubled up on, that kind of started off our whole channel. So that's obviously like right up there. And then we were with Ben when he shot his first one. We kind of guided him on that. Like, yeah, it's hard to pick just anybody, but yeah, those are the tops.
And my uncles. Anytime we're all up at the cabin and you're just spending time together with each other on the weekends, that's always fun. Or if someone shoots a deer, you're all involved in it. So
right.
That's what I like.
And you said we were cute for picking each other. Who's yours going to be?
Oh, geez.
Because I think we all know.
We all probably know.
Because I think we all know.
Yeah. Eli, buddy.
Yeah.
That's you. I enjoy hunting with him a lot. We're just very similar personalities. We are both, I think, very just positive, and we never get down. It doesn't matter if we're kind of in a drought or going through some sits where we haven't seen deer. Like, we never... There's never like a negative attitude going around in camp. It's always keeping things positive and looking towards the next sit, and I just enjoy strategizing with them and planning out where we're going to sit. And I think that makes a good hunting partner. It'd be hard to go on trips or share camp with someone that's always like negative and down in the dumps. And you got to keep it positive, because you're going to fail a lot more than you're going to succeed. You're going to have a lot of sits where it doesn't go how you wanted it to go or how you predicted it to go, and that's okay. Like, that's part of hunting, right? And just to have a partner that shares that same attitude is a big plus, I think.
Right.
I agree.
So speaking of maybe partners, or maybe some guys you mentioned, or gals, what's the best memory of a deer someone else in your camp shot or whatever, and you were there to share the moment?
Well, I'm probably gonna have to go with again my dad when I filmed him shooting that one, and I was also along with him when he shot his biggest buck ever. I was 5 years old, and he took me out on Friday after Thanksgiving, and we were on my grandpa's land, and he shoots a 153 or 148 inch buck. So I barely could see it, and I just saw the fireball come out of the gun, and it was pretty early in the morning. He was chasing a doe, and that was pretty cool. So those two are my top two for sure.
Yeah, and I think when you shot Blade Runner, that probably has to take the cake for me as far as favorite deer that somebody else shot, because it was the first one that we ever got on camera for Buck Fever, so that was like a pretty big moment for us with our business, but also opening day, in a giant buck, one that we had found the sheds of I guess that spring, and then all the inches that he put on, and then getting to. We left our property that night and drove home, and because where you guys hunt is kind of on the way back, and so we stopped in there and got to see it and take some pictures, and I mean that you just couldn't have asked for a better memory there from a deer that somebody else shot. So that one's got to be mine.
Yeah, my favorite one is actually one that Eli shot. It was his first buck ever. We were just kind of hunting just had gotten that Stoddard land south of La Crosse. So we were young, kind of into bow hunting, both in college. And I remember I was sitting just in a ground blind looking over this brushy area, and he was sitting some field edge corner. And it's like 8:30 or 9 o'clock, and I can see him walking across the field. And I'm like, I think he was 300 yards away, and I could tell in his step. I'm like, he shot a buck. Like, I can tell. He just had that like mojo with him.
Yep.
And it was only like, looking back now, just bigger than a basket 8. He ended up getting it mounted. And he's always like, oh, I can't believe I got that deer mounted. I'm like, dude, that memory is like one of my favorite memories of us hunting together. Is
right.
Like, I still remember him coming across the field and just being so jacked up, his first deer ever. And I didn't care that he was screwing up my hunt or that we were cutting the day short at 8:30, 9 o'clock, whatever it was, I was like just as jacked as he was, and ready to go get that, recover the deer, and
That's awesome.
yeah, pretty cool memory. So, how about tree stand snacks, guys? What's the favorite up in the tree?
Honestly, I don't eat. I really don't eat in a
gonna say
snack.
that, yeah.
I mean, I'll pack some if for gun season when we're sitting all day. Or like during the rut, like a sandwich or some candy. But I really
There's
don't
no
ever eat.
No go-to candy bar.
Oh, candy bar. I'm a Twix guy and a Three
Okay.
Musketeer. I love Reese peanut butter cups, but I mean that isn't really candy bar.
Yeah, so I've got somewhat of an unpopular opinion here that I have no idea how it's possibly unpopular because it's just like an unmatched candy bar. I like the Reese's Fast Break. Okay, that thing is, it's just the best ever because like obviously Reese's peanut butter cups are good.
The best.
My issue with them is you got to undo like 6 packages to get to the thing.
Or 2.
You know what I mean?
Just 2.
No. There's multiple.
Yeah,
There's
kinda
the
with you on
orange
that. It
one. There's a
feels like
white
6,
one. There's
yeah.
a brown. You just keep going. You just got to keep peeling the onion before you finally get to the thing, and then it's like, wow, is it even really worth it?
100%.
But with the 80%. But with the Reese's Fast Break, but plus then you gotta peel. You'd have to peel like 30 packages to get as much out of a Reese's peanut butter cup as you're going to get out of a Fast Break, because that's just like the whole thing, and you got to go.
Seems like you thought
you-
this one out
you-
for a while.
It's been years I've been trying to preach this to people, and they just don't get it. Because you got to go king size, right? So you're talking, it's a good size candy bar, and then you've got all the elements, but it's one package, and it's in candy bar version, so you can just eat it, just like a regular candy bar, and it's not a cup that's all awkward and stuff. It's as
King
good as it
size.
gets.
Are you taking down the whole Fast Break bar in one? Like
Oh,
this,
yeah.
If you open it up, is it gone?
Yep.
It's probably gone in under a minute.
Yeah, tummy ache and all.
Maybe 30
100%.
seconds.
Oh yeah. Well, the issue is when it gets later in the season, she freezes up on you,
And that's a little hard.
and then it's tough
Yeah.
to chew, tough to
Breaking ice.
bite. Yeah,
and I can't
but-
talk. I eat my food very fast too. And we're
No.
both like that though. Who wants
Yeah.
to sit and look at the food?
Right.
I'm gonna eat it.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, my wife tells me all the time I eat way too fast, and I don't know.
Yeah, I'm hungry.
Right.
Faster-
What else am I gonna
faster
do?
you
That's
eat it,
what it's
the
there
more you can
for.
have.
Yeah.
So speaking of peeling stuff back, there was a debate on this when we posted this on Facebook, I think back in the fall, and I said my favorite tree stand snack was a Nutty Bar.
Mm-hmm.
And there were some comments on there that like you have to like slowly peel each layer of the Nutty Bar back and eat it like that. Like, no way, man. That Nutty Bar, as soon as that thing's cracked, it doesn't stand a chance. I'm mowing that thing down.
It's
Yeah.
just too much work.
Yeah. Once again,
Yeah.
that's the most psychotic thing I've ever heard in my entire life.
Just
And
eat it.
my former boss, he started that because I would bring a Nutty Bar to work, and then I would eat it for lunch in the truck. And then he looked over at me one day when I'm eating it, and he's like, "What are you doing?" And I'm just eating
Just
my Nutty
eating a
Bar, man. What's
standard
going
Nutty
on?
Bar?
He's like, "You got to pick it apart." And I'm like, "Are you out of your mind? Like, am I riding with Jeffrey Dahmer right now? What are you talking about? How do you peel the thing apart?" And then he's like, "Well, you get so much more flavor out of it." I'm like, "How is that possible? You're getting less when you peel it apart." Now you have chunks that are less than when it's all together.
Yeah, I want 5 layers of flavor all in one bite.
Exactly. That's the whole point. That's why it's packaged like that.
Mhm.
And then I know, but then the shocking part was that then there was others.
Yeah.
There was other Dahmers out there.
Mm.
Gabby being one of them.
No
She's sort of
bueno.
a switch. She kind of goes back and forth. It depends on how much time she wants to take killing her meal before she eats it. And there's some others in the crowd. It's just, it's
yeah, I
unbelievable.
mean,
I don't
It's-
know.
It's
I don't know.
Who wants to work for their food? That's why I don't get bone-in wings. That's way too much work.
Yeah, that's true. But but what's the point?
But there is none.
Like, what's the point in peeling it apart? I
Like-
just don't get it.
Same with string cheese. Just eat it.
Yeah, just eat it. Yeah. I don't
yeah,
peel string
just eat it.
cheese.
Mhm.
Just eat it. I don't know, man.
Doesn't make sense.
That was a good debate there.
It was.
Tree stand snack.
I know.
Oh, we're going to keep talking about food. How about your favorite cut of venison?
Oh, you want a good debate? Wait till you
Oh,
hear this
I know where
crock
this is
of
gonna go.
crap.
Yeah. This,
Well,
let's
I
talk
mean,
about
Well. See how much support you get in the comments here.
everybody loves a good backstrap steak, which I've had. They're good, and unfortunately, what we do with all our deer, they just get right into sausage. So we get
Unfortunately, you have the option, dude.
Backstrap
You can
and
do
all?
whatever you want.
Unbelievable.
backstrap and all, but you don't. The amount of brats and hot dogs I have in my freezer right now is insane. But I've made this clear to my dad that the next year we shoot, I'm going to take the back straps and cook them up that night on the grill. So, I mean, I really like venison. Like we don't do it because I don't think it tastes as good if you put like you got to put beef in it. No, I really like venison. So that's just what we've always done. That's all I know basically.
The problem I've got is Jake shoots 2 or 3 deer a year. I don't shoot deer. It's not that I don't try to shoot deer. It's just I don't shoot deer. So then, like, the amount of times that I've had back straps is very little. But the next year that I shoot, we will be harvesting the back straps separately, and that's going to be it. I mean, there's other good cuts of meat too. A lot of people have good ways of cooking them up, but like that's just the classic. How do you not eat that, man?
Yeah, it's got to be venison back strap. So
yeah.
If it's not a cut, I guess what venison product is your favorite?
Like if you get it made
into
brats,
something.
Hot dogs, brats for sure. The place we used to go to, their hot sticks were really good, but the place we go to now, they're all right, but I love the brats. I'll sit down and eat. I'll eat the whole four of them in one sitting, and they got hot dogs, which are really good. But I ate 6 of them one night, 6 buns with condiments all on them. So I mean
that's impressive. Jake.
Yeah, and my buddies, they each ate. Well, how many do we have? They each ate 5. Sean Traylon.
Jeez.
Yeah,
they're not that big.
Oh, none of you guys are that big of dudes. That's
no. I mean, they're
throwing down a lot of meat,
and only because we got like 5 or 6 different flavors, like Philly cheesesteak, Badger, which is a cheddar brat, and mushroom and Swiss, Italian. So it's not just a plain brat.
I mean, you don't have to try all the flavors in one sitting.
Well,
but
no,
like
but
yeah, I mean, you know,
if you wanted to, you could.
If you wanted to, yeah, you definitely could. I think another one to throw in there, venison bacon can be all right.
Oh, we do
absolutely.
have that, yeah.
It kind of sucks in some ways because like there's no fat, and the best part of bacon is fat, which I'm notoriously a bacon hater, so I'm not even like the best person to be talking about this.
Who are you guys? No
he's
venison
weird.
backstrap, no bacon.
He's weird.
What's going on?
I'll take the hit for the back straps, but he's.
You know what's really good, Jake? Venison backstrap wrapped in bacon.
I'm gonna try
on the grill.
I know you've just divided us. Neither one of us can eat that. I don't know. Bacon, it ruins a cheeseburger. Like there's just no sense in having that on there. I'm a cheeseburger purist. You don't need bacon on it.
You can no.
And then when you eat bacon just by itself, it kind of gives you a tummy ache, and then it's like,
because it's grease.
Right. I know. I don't need that. I'm a muffin guy. That's what I have every day for breakfast. A good muffin. What sometimes too much. Chocolate chip.
Chocolate chip. Okay.
The more chocolate, the better. As much chocolate as I can get. If I could just eat chocolate bars.
He's kind of like a little kid in a grown up body.
In some ways, for sure. Yeah. But anyways, I'm kind of a bacon hater. But venison bacon deserves a shout out. It can be kind of good.
I'm a bit baffled just by some of this stuff.
Our venison bacon's pretty good because if you cook it and then like you put it back in the fridge, then you can just eat it like jerky. Like
right.
you eat it cold like jerky because it's like this. It's pretty wide. So
I feel like I'm making a lot of good points here, Kolbe. I don't know. I don't think there's that big of a controversy here.
I hope there's a couple comments after this podcast to counter that. Maybe.
There should be a plethora. Yeah, I'll be forever known as the bacon hater.
Bacon hater.
Are you a guy, Kolbe, who like makes all their own deer stuff, and you?
A little bit of both. We process some of our own, and I still have some places I do enjoy taking stuff to because I feel like they make good products. So, especially like I love venison hot dogs. That might even be my number one.
Not brats.
I'd take a venison hot dog over a brat.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I'm really big on like Chicago hot dogs, so taking a venison dog and doctoring it all up and making it Chicago style, by far my favorite.
It's a fair statement.
Okay.
So, all right, let's get into some like more true deer hunting talk. How about do you prefer, I guess, favorite morning or afternoon sit when it comes to the early season? I
don't sit mornings, so I'm a big afternoon guy.
Afternoon, because waking up early sucks.
Afternoon. How about when that comes to the pre-rut? I guess second half of October. Favorite going out in the morning or still staying in with those afternoon sits?
I'm still mostly afternoon unless we get a huge cold front to roll through.
Afternoon, because getting up early sucks. But during the pre-rut and the rut, At least where we're hunting, the action's always better in the morning.
I kind of toss up on the pre-rut thing. That's when I do start to sit a lot of mornings. If it's cold enough, definitely the morning. But if the cold front's not there, probably still sticking with the afternoon stuff. How about the rut when we start to get into early part of November?
Those are definitely mostly all dayers or with a break in between of a couple hours if you're moving stands or go back and get some food and take a quick nap or something like that.
If you only had 6 hours to sit, you'd take in the morning or the afternoon?
I'm at sit the morning.
6 hours to sit, afternoon.
I'm going to go with the morning. I have a lot of success when it comes to November and the rut in the mornings and not so much in the afternoon. So
I just don't like getting up early.
that seems to be a
hard. It's hard.
I mean,
to be a hunter.
turkey season is coming right around the corner. I'm dreading it already.
I mean,
oh my
God. Getting up for turkeys is brutal.
I mean, he'll probably go like 5 times. If that.
Yeah, right.
I'm always texting him, hey, you want to go? Man, what time are we leaving? I'll pick you up at 2:30. Ooh, that sounds pretty early.
Yeah.
2:30 is pretty early.
Yeah,
that's
it is.
intense.
It is.
But you guys got to drive like an hour.
Yeah,
right?
and end of May, it's getting light at 4:45.
Mm-hmm.
Last one on that topic would be late season. I'm guessing we're all going to say the afternoon.
Oh, yeah, I don't get up for that.
Yeah.
Okay. How about your favorite? If you had to choose your favorite time of year to hunt, you get like a 2-week window. What time of year is going to be your favorite? We're talking whitetails and bow hunting or gun hunting.
Yep.
Well, I've killed way more deer, way more bucks early season with the bow, but I still love November. Obviously, I haven't got a lot of time to hunt it. Being in school, in sports, can't really take off and sit the whole week like I can now with work. But so I'm gonna have to still go with like early November, just because of it's November and anything can happen, and you see a lot of cool things during that time.
Yeah. If I've got 14 days, give me 8 of them at the end of October and 6 of them in the beginning of November. Is that 14? Yeah.
8 plus 6.
We're
Yeah, I
good.
think so. This one's tough for me. Like if you said take a 2-week window where you think you can kill the best buck, I would probably say early season. If you say what's your favorite time to hunt that like really gets you jacked up, juices flowing, just filled with anticipation, it's probably going to be like October 28th through whatever, November 11th or 12th, whatever that 14-day window looks like there. It's just that time of year is special to be in a tree. You just don't know what you're gonna come across each day. You know, magic kind of happens in the woods during that time. There can be a lot of bad sits, which we've talked about previously, but there can be some magical sits as well during that time frame.
I also like the early season a lot, but it's just so, like, it's been getting a lot warmer and warmer as we go, and it's almost unbearable. But no, you're still going to go out there, obviously. And like I said, I've had a lot more luck that way. So
Right.
And two, I guess, like when you're choosing that 2-week window, rut-ish or pre-rut time, you're bringing mornings and evenings into the equation, where early season a lot of the time it's just afternoon. So how about what's your favorite bow or gun season?
I like gun season because we get together and my uncles and cousins who don't bow hunt all come up and we have a pretty good time. But I gotta go bow hunting. I like the challenge. I love trying to get deer that close to you and not knowing they're there, and you have to be a lot more accurate and a lot more practice, so to say, with a bow than a gun. And so I'm definitely a bow guy.
Yeah, I mean, gun season's where you get more of that camaraderie, like you talk about with sturgeon spearing. That's going to come during gun season. But like I was saying earlier, and like you just said, with the cat and mouse of it, and you know how close you have to get, how good of a shot you have to be. I love all that stuff. So yeah, it's got to be bow season.
Yeah, I think I'll go with bow as well. I enjoy all the things about gun season as well, the camp camaraderie and just all that goes into that. But still, it's got to be stick and string in your hands. So
Yep.
All right, how about looking at tree stand setups? What would be your favorite early season setup? Like ideal scenario, what's the stand you like going to?
Ideal scenario, if we're talking where I hunt, if there's beans, I'm sitting on the edge of the fields right over a water hole, and then beans, I'm looking over them. If there's corn, I'm probably going to go sit over a food plot. And then during the rut, I like the rut because I like getting down there and getting really dangerous with them and getting to where they're living basically. And I think you can get away with that a lot more during the rut. So I like that. Like get into the swamps or their bedding area during the rut. That's what I'd like doing.
Yeah, I think early season, I would say probably a food source of some sort, probably a food plot. Maybe not right on top of it, but at least nearish to it, or just off of it a little ways where you kind of think they might be traveling from. It's got to be a food plot of some sort.
Yeah, early season's all about the food, right? So I'm gonna piggyback off what Jake said. If I got like, maybe I'm not quite on the field edge, or maybe I am, but if I can still shoot to like beans behind me, and I know where they're bedding, and I'm kind of in between where they're bedding and their destination food source being beans yet, or maybe I'm on the edge of that, maybe there's some acorns on the way or something, or a water hole or some other attractant. That's definitely my early season favorite. How about the rut? I know Jake kind of touched on the rut, but you got a favorite rut stand?
Yeah, I mean, give me a licking branch. I know Jeff Sturgis with Whitetail Habitat Solutions. We watch his channel quite a bit and get a lot of good knowledge. So I don't want to take credit at all for having these or coming up with these or anything. It's just stuff that he has done and has promoted. And I mean, I guess for anybody who doesn't know, real quick, it's basically you take a vine that's naturally hanging out in the woods, and you hang it up over a trail, kind of make a little scrape. Sometimes you refer to them as a licking branch. Sometimes it's like a mock scrape type of situation. He doesn't put any sort of scent on it or anything, and we never have either. And it's one of those things where you think like, well, I mean, there's a lot of branches, a lot of sticks, a lot of vines in the woods. Why would a deer care about this? And we tried it out. We tried it out a little bit last year, and then a little bit more this year. And you get pictures and videos like crazy. They're just all over that thing. And during the rut, when they're trying to figure out where does are and they're traveling a bunch, and they might be moving pretty quick, it's usually a little landmark that they kind of stop at for a second. So if you can get on a good hot trail and get on a licking branch there, I think you can't beat it.
Like food like edge of food with the licking branch, or are you back in the woods during the rut?
I think I'm back in the woods a little bit more. I mean, so we did film an episode, like one of our first ones, about using a doe decoy. And then in that case, I'm in more of an open area where they might be kind of checking a food plot or checking a cut field or something, like to visually see any does out there. We had that when I was sitting with Gabby. We came really, really, really close to shooting a really nice buck. And I think I kind of screwed that one up by not having a decoy out there at the time, because we just didn't know. It's tough with decoys. You don't want to spook them.
It's hit or miss.
It's hit or miss. And that buck came out, saw another deer that was in the field, which we had already identified as a nub buck, but he had not yet. So we saw it and then chased after it and, decided if he wanted to breed it or not, and realized he wasn't gonna. But then he was just confused. He was embarrassed, and he kind of tucked his tail and just ran off into the woods, and we never got him. And I think that was my fault. We should have had a decoy out there. But if you're over something like that, and then you got a decoy, that can be pretty good. But if it's up to me, what I usually do would just be tucked back in the woods.
Sure. I guess I could chime in on it. My rut, for me, we're hunting a lot of hills and coulees and valleys and stuff. So I love funnels or pinch points between two bedding areas. For us, a lot of times that's like the top of a ditch crossing, or in these deep ditches, maybe it's not the top. If it's not the top, you find halfway down where is the main crossing between this ridge top over here and this ridge top over on this other side, and where are they going to cross when they want to go cruise and scent check or check those different bedding areas. So it's just funnels for me.
So hunting in the hills and stuff, have you ever used a decoy?
We have on some of the open fields. Eli, I think he's got a story of hitting a big buck that came into a decoy and he didn't find it. He'd have to elaborate on that, but I think that was a deer we called MJ. pretty sure he had a decoy. I had one come in once, a big 9-point came into the decoy. It was like borderline, gonna shoot, not gonna shoot. He came all the way across the field. He was like 200 yards away, and I think I just grunted as loud as I possibly could to get his attention. And as soon as he put his ears up and eyes over our way, he saw the decoy and came flying in, like 200 yards in 15 seconds.
Yep.
And got a little close, and then he kind of freaked out and by the decoy and turned and ran away. But I wasn't convinced I was going to shoot him or not. So
Is that a buck decoy or a doe decoy?
that was like a half rack buck.
Oh.
We took one side off. Yeah.
I had my dad was out with a decoy this year, and he had a buck come screaming in at him. I'm almost positive I'm remembering that correctly, but I was just gonna say, in that video that we made about the decoys, I had a buck who I didn't see at the time. I just heard sticks breaking behind me. Turns out it was a buck chasing a doe, and he left that real live doe to come and check out my doe decoy. And the doe decoy I was using in the video is a foam target. It's like one of the Glendale bucks, or
Nice.
maybe it's not Glendale.
No,
but,
it
I mean,
is.
it's like one of those. Like he left a real live actual doe and came up for a foam target that has arrow holes in it, because we use it for practice. And it's got, you know, the antlers in it that we just took out, so it's got holes in its head where the antlers should go.
Looks like a shed buck.
Yeah, kind of.
Nice.
So they can be really effective.
How about let's skip down to the favorite. What's your ideal or favorite weather for any hunting day? I guess pick the time of year. What's your favorite perfect weather conditions where you see the forecast, you're like, all right, go time. This is going to be great. This is what I want.
Like good hunting conditions,
Yeah.
or like makes me happy because it's nice out?
Yeah, 75 and on a beach isn't where you shoot whitetails.
Yes.
Well, no, but it's nice. Okay.
I like the October, November when you see like those 20-degree mornings, but not windy. I'm not a wind guy. I like hearing the deer before I see them, type of thing, or like knowing that there's something around so I can look in that direction. I don't like the crunchiness when you're walking in, but it can also be effective to kind of get them on their feet and listen. But I don't like wind. I mean, there's a point to be said with a little wind, like 2, 3, 4, 5 miles an hour, but when it's like constantly 12 miles an hour, I don't like that at all. So
Yeah, I would say give me 6, 7, 8 miles an hour, just so that I don't have any scent pooling up, you know, right below me or whatever. And you know, then obviously there's thermals that play a role in that too, especially if you're in hill country like you would be, Kolbe. But yeah, give me just a little bit of wind, nothing crazy. I would say I would like, you know, the end of October, early November, probably like high 30s, maybe low 40s. I don't feel like it has to be miserably cold to see deer, especially that time of year. So if it's kind of in that 40-degree range, I think that's about perfect.
I'm kind of with you on that. I don't like the really, really cold mornings. Like, I have found that when it gets so cold that everything's like frosty and crunchy, I don't tend to, those sits don't seem to be as good.
Right.
For me, I would like a nice low of 28, 30 degrees when you're first going out, where it's going to get up to 38 to 42 degrees, where plus you can dress for that, right? Like we got good enough clothes you can handle that all day long. I'm kind of like a sweet spot for me wind-wise is 7 to 10. So I like a little bit of wind so that you can get a good prediction on where that wind's blowing to. And you can use that to your advantage on your entry routes, as well as where you're going to sit, because you get a better idea of where your wind and your scent is actually going to go. Versus sometimes those calm days, like you said, it pools up below you, where you really got to understand how thermals are working. So I like a good steady, nothing overpowering. I also hate really windy days, but a good 7 to 10 where it's predictable is where I'm at on that.
I agree.
I also like the sun.
Yeah.
I like
sunny
days.
bluebird sky
Yeah.
days.
Yep, absolutely. Yep. That's a good point.
A lot more enjoyable.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. All right. How about you're in the business of this, but how about your favorite TV show or media? It could be, I guess, a lot of stuff's on YouTube now, but your favorite hunting media.
Buck Fever Outdoors, Kolbe, are you crazy?
Besides Buck
What are you
Fever
talking about?
Outdoors, like number one, of
Come
course,
on.
but I guess your number 2 favorite.
Don't have one. No, I'm just kidding.
Right. There's not a number 2. There's like a number 5, but
I really enjoy the hunting public, seeing what they do. I really like Midwest Whitetail too, because they're kind of more of, I mean, the Midwest and Wisconsin and Iowa, where a lot of those guys hunt, in Illinois is pretty similar. Seek One I really started watching too, which I think is cool because they're all the urban and shooting them in people's backyards, shooting 180-inch deer, which is insane to me. But no, I like the Midwest Whitetail and the hunting public boys a lot.
Yeah, I mean, there's tons of good ones out there. Like you said, those are both good ones. Mentioning Whitetail Habitat Solutions and Jeff Sturgis, he doesn't really film a lot of his hunts and like put those out there, but just the content that he makes as like a hunting show or media, I think is really good. A couple of years ago, you kind of put me on to Seek One, and they're about as good as it gets. Their editing is off the charts. The filming that they do is also extremely good. I mean, if you want to be really good at editing, you have to have a lot of really good footage, and they just do an awesome, like unbelievable job at that. And on top of that, they're shooting 200-inch deer. I mean, it's unreal. They're my favorite. They seem like really, really good guys.
Yeah,
they
very
always
personable.
Yeah, their videos are always must-watch videos.
Yeah, you guys mentioned a ton of good ones and ones that I enjoy as well. My all-time favorite for sure, like hands down, is Whitetail Adrenaline.
Mm-hmm.
Those DVDs, I think they're just they capture everything that's real. Like they must film every single second of everything they're doing. And their videos can get really long, but I love sitting down for 5 hours and watching one of their DVDs. But Midwest Whitetail's awesome. I really love the stuff when Bill Winke was there.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Disappointed that Jared Mills is leaving the show.
Yeah.
I always enjoyed him.
He was one of my favorites.
Heartland Bowhunter, I always loved their videography, if you would call it, per se, or presentation. They always did such a phenomenal job. And I've always just been a huge fan of Drury Outdoors. I know some people like get turned off with that because they're doing a lot of just box blind hunting over food plots, but those guys are so smart, and they've been at it for so long.
Extremely. I forgot about them.
And they just have such a high production quality. I really enjoy their stuff as well. And I mean, Hunting Public, I've not seen Seek One yet. Maybe I'll have to check
Kolbe.
that out. So
yeah, it's unreal. You definitely got to check it out. When it comes to like their videography and that stuff, it's unmatched. But yeah, like you said, the Drury's,
they're very good.
I mean, you talk about obsessed. Like I've listened to some podcasts with them on it. They are obsessed.
I mean, like if he's going into a stand, from what I understand, like he's pretty confident he's gonna kill a deer. Like he's not going in there to sit because he thinks he might have a chance. Like he's pretty confident he's gonna kill him, which I think is insane. That you know so much about deer and that deer that he's gonna come out at that time or that spot. Which is
I've heard him talk about like saving every single picture that he gets in a year.
They go
going
through like
all of
millions
them.
of trail camera pictures
and all the properties that they've got across so many different states, and the logs that they keep on all of the patterns and everything. It's unbelievable.
How about second favorite hunting podcast besides Buck Fever Outdoors?
Okay.
I like listening to Steve Rinella and the Meat Eater one.
Like the Wired to Hunt.
Yeah.
That one's my favorite. They do a good job.
Wired to Hunt, Mark Kenyon.
Yeah, he's got that. I guess there are two separate ones.
Yeah, because Rinella does his own like Meat Eater show.
Right. Mm-hmm. Are they somewhat connected-ish?
Yeah. Well, I think Wired to Hunt's a parent company.
Yeah.
Underneath Meat Eater now, but
that one's a good one. But they are both.
I also listen to the Hunting Public one too, every now and then.
Yeah, Mark Kenyon and Wired to Hunt is how I kind of got into listening to podcasts, and I've been listening to his show since he ever started it. So,
and then Tony Peterson's on there every now and then.
Love Tony Peterson. He might be one of my favorite guys. I would love to meet him someday and just have conversation. I think I would get along with him really well.
Big squirrel hunter too. That's kind of how he made a name for himself.
Squirrel and rabbit hunting and pheasant hunting and all that stuff. Yeah. I also got a shout out. I also love Nine Finger Chronicles and Dan Johnson. He was Kenyon's partner when they first started, and then they branched out. He's hilarious. I love him. And Kenyon and him are both like the same age as me, or close to it. So I feel like we relate on a lot of levels. Like both have young families and kids, and I kind of enjoy when they're shooting the shit and talking about all their struggles and stuff like that. So good stuff. Yeah, I think I was actually listening to Dan Johnson's podcast on the way home today, and he was talking about how his kid threw up on the way to the bathroom, in the bathroom, but he missed the toilet. Then he came back out, puked again in the hallway. And then the next morning he was eating waffles or something, and his kid sneezed and shit himself at the same time. He's like, yeah, that's just my life. So just stories like that are like, yeah, I can relate. No, I can't relate personally to that, but
with kids,
like with
right?
kids,
Yeah,
so
I
good
gotcha.
stuff. Next up is, I don't know if you guys even do this, but do you have a favorite hunting book or magazine?
I mean, that's borderline offensive right there.
I mean,
Kolbe doesn't think we can read.
No, it's not that. It's
Wouldn't be
just
wrong.
the new age of how people digest information.
I'd say we don't we necessarily don't have. I mean, like I've seen what are those magazines? The Midwest Whitetail magazines. Is that? Oh, what is it?
I mean, deer and
White-
deer
Oh,
hunting
yeah,
is a
that's
big
it. That's
one.
it.
Yeah.
My uncles get those, so I'll if they have them laying around at the cabin, I'll read those or look at them. But I'd say our more form of getting information is social media. Like everybody we follow kind of like posts all that stuff, so that's where we kind of get all of our stuff from.
Yeah, I mean, Pat Kolbe's got a couple of good articles out on buckfeveroutdoors.com, but I wouldn't even go read those now after the comment he made before. Steve Renella's got a couple of good books. He seems to just keep on writing them, and he does a good job. I love watching everything that he does on Meat Eater. He's very well spoken, and his books are kind of the same way. If you hear him talk like on Meat Eater or on a podcast, and then you read his books, you can hear him kind of reading the book to you in a way.
Yeah.
Like you can, he writes the way he talks, and it makes for some good reading.
Yeah, I know magazines are like a dying breed per se, but that's like how I grew up digesting hunting information. So I still subscribe to like probably 7, 8, or 9 hunting magazines. Because you can get them so cheap now because none of you young guys read them. So they send me like renewals for like $8 for a whole year. I'm like, well, yep, sign up for another one. Yeah, like deer and deer hunting is probably my favorite, but I think I get like North American Whitetail. I get the National Deer Association, Quality Whitetails magazine, Game and Fish, Field and Stream. There's a couple other ones in there. Peterson's Bow Hunting. I think I get like 8. I love reading a hard copy of something, information. I'm a big newspaper reader too, so that's a dying breed as well. So all of you young bucks taking to social media, ruining my
you and my
We're doing
mom
you a
are
favor.
way I want to wake up and drink my coffee, my old man coffee, and read a magazine in the morning.
Yeah, it's only 50 cents a copy because of us.
That's true. Thanks, appreciate that.
Yeah, and YouTube's free, so and it's like unlimited. There's just an unlimited supply of content out there, but that's
All right, next one on the list. I don't know if we kind of hit on this already or not. We can elaborate if you got a good one, but your favorite personal hunting memory?
No,
So
you
you-
go ahead. I got to think on
Or
this one.
experience?
Are you
or-
talking just like in general,
Could be,
anything
yeah,
that's
it could
ever
be.
happened hunting? Or are you talking about like just I'm hunting by myself?
Whatever you want to make it. Turkey, deer, that awesome time you shot that squirrel. Rabbit.
Do this. Do like a turkey one, a deer one, and then like a miscellaneous.
How many animals do you think I've killed, Jake? We've covered this, buddy.
We've
I'm
killed
not-
a lot together,
well,
personally.
A couple.
Killed like 20 squirrels this year.
Yeah, we've done all right on the squirrel hunting. I'll pick one because there's one that stands out above the rest. It's when my brother shot his first buck. It was a basket rack buck, but his first one. So he shot it, and it ran onto the neighbor's property. Ran for a while. I believe he like single lunged it. So it's not like it was that bad of a shot, but sometimes on a single lung they can still run a ways and live for a little while. And so we had to track it a ways on the neighbor's property. Got permission and everything, of course. My grandpa, knows all the landowners around there, so it wasn't an issue there. And we track it for a while, just going and going. And I keep saying, well, he's hurt. He's going towards water. And everybody's, that's kind of a wise tale. I don't know if I believe it. So we track him all the way up until we get to the creek and lose blood. Can't find anything, so we start splitting off. Everybody goes one direction around the creek. And I actually almost fell down the creek bank here. I don't know if I've even ever told anybody. This was like one of the most like jump scare, like my heart was just racing so much because it was pitch black out there, and I think I had turned my flashlight off or something, and I like stepped where there was no bank, and I was like almost going down a ways, and then I caught myself and lived to tell the tale. But we actually found that buck in the river, so he literally went to water.
How'd you get him?
My grandpa swam through.
Love it.
It was on the other side. He just went in the river, swam across, grabbed it, swam him back. We got pictures of him in the river with the buck. So that was pretty cool.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy. I've seen some videos of that happening, but never heard of anyone that I know and have it personally happen to them.
And it was cold too. It was cold.
I kind of have one about that, actually. This year, when my uncle had to swim across the river during gun season to get my cousin's buck, because I walked up on him and I thought he was dead, and then I saw him breathing, so I went to shoot him, and he jumped up, and he took off through the woods because I was shooting, and then I took off after him, and he must have jumped off the bank into the river. There was about 6 feet between him and the water, and he just leaped off of it. And then he stopped in the river, and I shot him, and he tipped over, and he started floating down the river. And I was like, oh, I'll go out there. And I get out there about 4 steps, and my boots are at as high as they go to the water, and turn around, and me and my uncle are standing there. And all of a sudden, here comes my other uncle swimming, like high-stepping it through the water to go get him. But that was a good one recently, and it just happened. But my favorite one was probably my first buck with my dad, because it was November 4th, and it was rut, and he took me out, and this little buck comes out, and I swear he said it was a spike. It ended up being a little basket rack 8, and he was on a doe scent, like I've never seen a buck like that, just following nose down. I stood up, the chair fell over in a tin stand, just banging, making noise. I mean, he didn't even move a muscle, and I shoot him. I missed his shoulder blade by about a centimeter, and I'm drawing 32 pounds, so it probably would have bounced off of him like nothing. Ends up running about 90 yards and dies right next to a slope. Or a hill. We had to drag him up. I didn't drag him. My dad did. Straight up a hill, and so that was a pretty cool memory. My grandpa was there, so.
That whole poundage thing actually brings up a good point, especially since Kolbe would know a thing or two about this also.
Saying I'm fat? Is that a fat joke?
Whoa.
We're talking about poundage.
I
would never say anything like this.
Jeez.
No, wait till I tell you the story.
Just
You'll
'cause I like
understand.
Nutty
You'll
Bars
get
or
the,
what?
you'll understand. No, you get a pass because you eat it like a
Nutty
normal
Bars
person.
and bacon.
Well,
Yes,
yeah.
that's responsible for
I don't
bees.
hate on anybody for liking bacon. It's just more of a personal thing.
Okay.
But no, so the first, how many deer have I shot with a bow? I think one.
Well, it shouldn't
It's
take you that hard to think about it if it's only one. So
it's hard to say that,
Well,
but
you're like 21.
I think
so.
I've shot one, and it's been one. No,
You've probably
yeah,
been
it's
hunting
been
for
one.
what?
It's been one that I shot with a bow, 3 with a gun.
didn't you shoot one with like a Genesis?
That's
bow?
what I was gonna say.
That's the one.
The Matthews Genesis.
That's insane.
The
And
ones we used
it
in
was a
gym
doe,
class?
It was a doe that came up at like less than 10 yards. Shot it with a Matthews Genesis, and the reason why you would know something about that is because you were our Phi Ed teacher for a long time there, and so one of the units that we had in class was shooting archery, and the bows we would use in that class was the
bow,
Matthews
yeah.
Genesis, and I
didn't even think those are at a high enough poundage to actually kill a deer.
I didn't think they were either. Because it had to be 30.
Wow. With those, there's no, like, I don't think there's any, like, relief point at the end.
No,
I'm
not
almost
really.
positive there's not. So it's just, like, however hard you pull it back is
Yeah.
kind of what you're going to be getting. And I wouldn't shoot out to 30 yards with it or whatever, but just, just 10-yard shot and buried it right in a rib cage.
That's
and
awesome, though.
It was. And as I recall, I was not a bad shot in your class either.
No, pretty good.
Yeah,
I hated them things.
Why?
Oh, I couldn't aim. Go all over the place.
Oh man.
They're tough to shoot for me. They're not quite the draw length that I need.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Fun gym class, though. I like
Yeah,
doing that.
Absolutely.
personal hunting memory for me. I got a couple, but I don't know which one I should share. Did I ever share that story of the big 174 on your podcast? I think I did, right?
I think
Maybe
we
on
just
one of the originals.
I think we just
That one's a
mentioned
really long
it.
one, though. I don't know if I want to dive into that. One of my all-time favorites doesn't involve me. It was gun hunting, and I was quite a bit younger, and it was the last day of the season. And this isn't a deer that I got; it's one my dad got. But it was the last day of the season, and it was like a snowstorm, squall. I don't know. I was sitting in a stand where the northwest wind was just blasting me at 25 miles an hour, and it's snowing sideways. And there's like 5 minutes to go in the season, and I'm like, you know what? It is time to wave the white flag. So I had lowered the gun, and I was about 5 steps down on the ladder, and my dad's probably sitting 100 yards away from me, and just shot gets fired, and I just about shit my pants on the ladder stand. And I'm like, what is he shooting at? I can't even see 40 yards because it's snowing so hard. And here it comes that, he got a glimpse of what he thought was a big buck. And he basically said the next little spot between 2 trees, if I see brown in that spot, I'm shooting. And he did. And we went up and found that buck, and it was a giant 8-pointer that had tines that came around and just about touched. I think they actually crossed now that it dried.
Oh, man.
But you know where he shot that thing? Right behind the ear hole.
Oh, man.
And it dropped on the spot. And it was a giant buck, one of the biggest bucks we've ever gotten on that property. And I just remember it was such a cool end to the gun hunting season. We had gotten a couple other really nice ones that year. But just like how the energy at camp to end the year was phenomenal. And it was just such a kind of a crazy story.
That is crazy.
So, all right, so we're going to finish this thing off kind of with some, it says rapid fire, like we're supposed to go through this quick, but I'm sure we'll dabble in some.
He's missing one.
What do you mean?
Lucky hunting hat.
It's on there. I'm going to go through
It's on the
those.
bottom.
Oh, I thought you were going to the...
Oh, no.
So, a little bit quicker. What's your favorite sporting goods store to buy hunting stuff at? One word, simple answer.
Online. Because we can't buy First Light in the store.
Right. First Light online.
Shields. You guys really
That's
don't have
good
a
pick.
place?
That's a good
Like
pick.
okay?
if I have to go
If you
somewhere,
got to go somewhere.
I go to Shields. I don't go to Cabela's anymore. They have nothing.
Right.
Yeah,
I mean,
it really went downhill.
I like Cabela's. As far as all their clothes goes, like it's not much that I wear. I mean, yeah, Shields is a good answer.
Favorite call that you're going to use in the tree stand?
I just don't even know what my grunt call is called.
I know for sure my grunt call is the one that the juries make. It's really good.
Mad?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
the hyper growl or
Yep.
something like that? That's what I used to.
I think
but
mine's a Primo's.
I am going to say rattling antlers for that now, though. Favorite camel brand? I think I know what you guys are going to say, but
First Light.
First Light.
First Light.
Please sponsor us.
I looked down like I was wearing my First Light sweatshirt, which I originally wore here, but then switched out. How about your favorite tree stand drink? You gonna go with the Natty Light, like the guy
No,
that saw in
Public
Public
Land
Land?
guy.
I only drink like water or soda during gun season, but it's gonna be a Dew. Code Red probably to be specific.
That's a fantastic beverage. Water is the right answer. Rain energy drink. If I'm really feeling like I'm not going to see a deer because I'll shake too much. I will not hit anything if I'm drinking that.
Some type of Mountain Dew. Code Red's a good one.
That's my
For sure.
all-time
I
favorite.
can't say I
yeah.
bring it to the stand all the time, but I do love Code Red. But probably Diet Dew.
It's a fantastic beverage. They really got a good thing going with that one.
I don't like water. I think I talked
Wait.
about it in the... Well, sorry. I like water. That came out wrong.
I was gonna say
I don't like water, and I think I talked about it in my like hunting backpack video. Is like these standard water bottles like this. Like when there's not much in it, they get really crinkly and crunchy, and it makes too much noise. So
Yep.
if I am gonna bring water, it is in a old Gatorade bottle or something like that. But 9 times out of 10, I go for the caffeine and Diet Dew or something. How about the song? You got a song that gets you amped to hunt? You're driving an hour away. Is there or like
Kickstart my heart.
you're like right before you know it's 5 minutes before you get there, and you got to
Oh
put
my
on that
God.
song that's gonna get you jacked up?
Yeah, Kickstart my heart.
That's
Yeah,
the one. That's the
when
go-to.
Terry and I are rolling up with just gets you going.
Are you jamming or are you more low key?
The subs are bumping in my truck.
Nice.
Yeah, I kind of like it. It almost reminds me of like pregame of a football game in high school, where you're just kind of like, especially I feel it's on opening day. Like you're like, all right, the season is about to start right now. You know, you just kind of get amped up for that. I'm gonna pick an actual hunting song. Obviously, you know, the 30-point buck.
Oh, I know what you're gonna say.
That's a banger. But the second week of deer camp is underrated, highly underrated.
I thought you were gonna say. No, go ahead. I'll wait for Kolbe in case this is his.
No, it's probably not mine. I don't know what I do, but a lot of times it's more mellow stuff, I guess. Wicked Twisted Road by Reckless Kelly is like a song that just reminds me of deer hunting. You guys probably don't have any idea what song that is, but it was like the Heartland Bowhunter backdrop music on their original stuff.
Gotcha.
But I do listen to a variety of stuff. Some days it's bumping and some days it's just not so much, more mellow.
I thought you were gonna say Fred Bear by Uncle Ted.
No, that one's a too easy one to pick.
I thought you said before we started rolling that you listen to a lot of One Direction when you're.
Or Rihanna.
Did I hear that? Did I hear
Oh
that
yeah,
wrong?
I just love that halftime show. It's great. It was in my element. Speaking of drinks, how about celebration drink when the buck is in the back of the truck?
Can't go wrong with the Busch Latte.
The last time I had a buck in the truck, I was probably about 13. So,
well, anybody's got a buck in the truck, and you guys are someone's celebrating. What are we grabbing?
I sort of somewhat famously don't really drink that much. Well, it's a shocking thing to people when I tell them that I'm like 21 and just don't really drink much. Mountain Dew, that's what we like.
It's kind of our staple.
Usually we bring one along, and if we shoot a buck, shoot a turkey, whatever, the dews are going to be going down.
There is no place a Busch Light tastes better than when a deer or turkey or sturgeon, I guess, would be in the back of a vehicle.
But better is
Agreed.
still bad.
Oh, it's like the best.
Oh, Kolbe.
He doesn't think
You're
they're
gone.
good. That's why.
Who, me?
No, I don't.
Oh,
You can't say that it's good.
it's fantastic.
You cannot argue that it tastes good.
It's fantastic.
It might make you feel good, but you cannot possibly say that it tastes good. Like if it tasted,
kind of want one right now. Just talking about.
If it tasted like that, and you could drink 100 of them and not feel a thing, would you still drink it like that?
There's been nights we tried to drink 100 of them, but failed. Oh, jeez. How about I'm lucky I don't. Well, I do still teach, but. All right, let's move on to the next thing. How about you guys got a favorite lucky hunting hat?
I do. I have a Team Realtree hat that I have probably wore every deer I've killed with the bow. I've had it on since even before I could hunt. When I was 5 or 6, I wore it. And if you've seen any of the videos, the brim was cloth and it is ripped out and it hangs below, so I have to keep pushing it up because I can't see. So I got to get that fixed before next year. But that's my lucky hat. Everybody makes fun of me. All my uncles and dads. I need to get one.
Kind of not fit.
No, it fits. Like, cause it was like it was super big when I was young, but now it fits and it has like an old adjuster, like not a snapback. It's like a metal bar on the back, and you gotta move it. Yeah, it is. It's been with me for every deer I've killed with the bow.
Does it have the ingrained stained sweat ring?
Oh yes.
In the
Oh
yeah.
It's different color.
Yeah.
Well, it's kind of like I mean yours is like kind of intentionally frayed, I think.
It's gotten worse over the years, but same deal. But
then
all of a sudden you'll be hunting and a fray will be dangling.
Well, if you've seen any of Jake's bow hunting videos, he just looks ridiculous, like an absolute goober, because it's just like all the way down. But I can't say anything.
From the deer, they can't see him,
and I can't see them.
You've shot so many deer with that thing. I would be mad at you if you stopped wearing it.
I know, and I'm not gonna.
It's fantastic. I wouldn't even fix it if I was you. I would just leave it the way it is. If you can't see, oh well, you'll be fine.
I keep this is mine right here. I'm wearing it right now. It's I think this Wood Eyes hat from Bar and Grill in Winneconne, and my buddy or Eli always gives me crap for wearing it because like it's so faded out in the back that used to be brown, and now I've washed it so many times that it's kind of like white.
Yeah, that puppy's white. That's for sure
like,
white.
He'll be sitting 300 yards away. He's like, dude, I can see your hat. It just stands out like nothing. I'm like, dude, I shot like 7 deer with this hat in in the last 4 or 5 years, so it's gonna stay on my head. So
I kind of like
this one.
I like the hat that Buck Fever Outdoors has got.
You can get it at buckfever.com.
Yeah, buckfeveroutdoors.com.
I do think I was wearing that when I shot
when you
my
shot
bull buck this year. So yeah.
Yeah, it's a good premium quality hat. Real wood patch such as this one. Nice camouflage pattern, plethora of options. Once
Outstanding
again,
hat.
It's an outstanding hat. It really is. This one is kind of the one I've started to wear now. Now that we've got it, I'd say I have more of a go-to hat in the past with gun hunting. I've got a Buckmaster's like blaze orange hat that I've always worn since I was a little kid. But now I'm kind of switching over to more First Light stuff, so we'll kind of see how that goes. But
I do have a favorite orange like stocking cap too. It's the one you can buy at Fleet Farm for like $8, and it's got the buck on it.
Yep.
Right here.
Yep.
And I was so pissed I lost it last year or two years ago. Doing a kind of a 2-person drive in the hills. It must have caught on a branch and I didn't know it. And then I got back to camp and someone's like, "Where's your orange hat?" And I'm like, "It's gone."
Well,
when you look back up the bluff, I'm like, "Yeah, I'm not hiking up that thing to go find it." So I went to Fleet Farm and bought like 4 of them.
I was gonna say
when that happens again, I have another one ready to go.
Right, for the price of a yearly magazine subscription, you can get yourself a new Fleet Farm hat.
Yep, you bet. What else? That's the end of the list. We got any other ideas on favorites before we send her away for this one?
Just boots. What kind of boots do you wear early season? Like, are you a rubber boot guy or like a hiking boot? Because I don't really know what I want.
Used to be rubber knee-high boots, but my feet sweat way too much in those things. So I've transitioned more to, and we're walking so far now that give me a hiking boot. That's just going to be more comfortable.
Yeah, I typically have always worn rubber boots. We don't have as big a property, not as long of a walk in there. And my feet will be cold regardless of what I got on, so it doesn't really matter. I probably should, especially in the early season, go to more of like a hiking boot type of thing. But it's typically always been rubber boots.
Yeah, same. I was just kind of dabbling with the idea of maybe
Right.
getting ones or even less grained. I don't need my 1600s for
No.
80-degree opening day.
God.
So
No, definitely not. You get the Crocs out for that.
yeah,
Have you hunted in Crocs?
I've turkey hunted in them.
There was a turkey hunt where Ben forgot his boots, and I don't know what he had on. I think he had on my sandals. Like I just had a pair of slides that I brought, and I think he had those going. So
That's nice.
well, it's something. Yeah, it's nice if you got a good pair of boots, but slides will do, I guess.
I've had to go up in the tennis shoes before. Like you forgot the boots back in the garage or something like that, and we drive
tennies
all the
aren't
way,
the worst.
drive all the way to the property and go, "Oh, you got to be kidding me." You know exactly where they're laying. You can picture the box they're sitting on, and you're like, you look down and you're like, "Sweet, rolling with the Nikes today." Anything else?
I think we got
wrap this one up. That was a lot of good favorites right there.
Yeah.
So, I guess you can critique us all day and bash us in the comments on some of our favorite stuff that we threw out there. There was a lot of good stuff that can probably be critiqued, per se.
Yeah, I mean there could be some comments left, some opinions people might have, but
how to eat a Nutty Bar, not eating backstraps, don't like bacon.
It's just crazy.
A lot
people.
of good stuff.
yeah, I don't know.
It's what makes the world go round.
It
right?
is.
We got all our different things we like and our favorites.
Mm-hmm.
So hey, thanks for listening to this podcast. You can find us on all the podcast platforms, the major ones. Subscribe, watch our YouTube stuff, watch the awesome sturgeon videos these guys are putting out of the 3 sturgeon that got speared. And thanks for listening. We'll see you next time.
Yeah, and thanks for coming, Kolbe.
You bet.
Appreciate it.
Always.
All right, see you guys later.
See ya.
Peace.